Well, hello, it's Bob Burrows, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about nothing in particular. Now and again, I just like to yap, and right now I'm yapping about nothing at all. So, the idea of no thingness, nothingness, no thingness, emptiness. It's the idea that the emptiness is something that we consider, like an empty container. So it's still something even though it's empty. Emptiness. Not necessarily a vacuum, it's just, it's without being full of something. So yesterday I went out and I played. Today I didn't. Am I more empty today than I was yesterday? Not at all. The fact is that you are playing and you are not playing, and they're just simply being in the moment those days doing different things. So, from the perspective of someone who likes to talk about other topics, maybe someone who's talking about yellow, for example, a color. Yellow is simply something that you might see, I don't know, on a signpost somewhere. It's just some yellow color. But if you were to look at the color yellow from another perspective, maybe to you it means something. Maybe it reminds you of a certain kind of flower, like a sunflower, for example. So you sort of associate yellow with certain things, and it brings things to your mind. So there's different ways of looking at a certain thing, like the color yellow. It's just yellow, or it is something that reminds you of a certain item, sunflowers. If I was to talk about water, water people think of as being, well, something that comes out of your tap, or maybe it's in a lake or a pond or a stream. So, it's chemically, it's dihydrogen oxide. So, it's made up of molecules. But if you were to look at the spiritual significance of water, in spiritual literature, water is actually thought of as being the spirit itself. If you were to consider diving into spirit, and you wanted to do a video to illustrate that, you might have somebody at the Canada Games complex diving off the diving board and into the water. And that would be the way you would illustrate somebody that was wanting to investigate spirit, somebody who was diving into water. Now, as for the water spirit itself, if you were to look at it from the perspective of, if the water itself had a voice, what would it tell you? Well, water is going to be telling you about I don't know. I think it's a very broad subject. If you were to think about the spirit of whatever particular item it is, it's not going to have the same message for you each time you look at it. It's going to have different messages for you. So, if you imagine that I was a molecule of water, what is my message for you right now? It's just going to be a simple introduction that the voice of spirit is always talking to you. But you have to be aware of it. So it means you have to be using your senses, your eyes, your ears, your sense of feeling, what's coming to you from myriads of different places. But I'm telling you that the Spirit, water being the symbol of Spirit is always talking to you and always giving you messages. There's always something there. And sometimes it's not going to be a message that's immediate for you. Sometimes you'll see something and later on, maybe it doesn't matter. Let's say, for example, in the middle of the night, you wake up at 3 a.m. and your mind flashes back on some memory of something you've seen in the past. And you never thought of anything at all, but all of a sudden your mind has brought this up to you. And that is a message from the Spirit. The Spirit has used some item that you have seen or heard, somebody, maybe some conversation has come up, maybe some movie you have seen, a little clip of it has come back, a piece of music has come to you, and that is the message from the Spirit for you. So you're constantly being given things that, if you have a question, sometimes questions that you've got, a very long time you'll be wondering, why, and you don't have an answer. And I'm not going to say eventually, because maybe Spirit's never going to give you the answer, and maybe it's just trying to teach you, trust me, and, trusting me, the Spirit, means, you don't need to know. And giving up the need to know is a spiritual lesson in itself. So maybe the Spirit is just telling you, you're what you are, and I'm the Spirit, and my lesson is that I know and you don't, and you're not going to know the answer to this thing. But maybe at some point in time, you will get an answer. And there's also the concept of divine right timing, that it's not on your little ego time frame. You think that, I have to have the answer right now, and I don't have it, and I'm going to get frustrated. So maybe the Spirit is teaching you patience. And in the divine right timing, you will get your answer. But, you never know what the Spirit's time is. You just don't know. But, when we talk about synchronicities, which are meaningful coincidences, that is something that you will see more and more as you become more and more attuned to the Spirit. If you pay attention to the things that are in your surroundings and you consider, I'm getting messages and maybe I don't understand them right now, but they're coming in, and just, okay, I'm living with that. I'm accepting that I'm getting the messages from the Spirit. So, that is what my message and my talk about the water Spirit is. Water is the symbol for Spirit, and the Spirit is always talking to you. And divine right timing means that when you get a synchronicity, in other words, you get a meaningful coincidence, something, it happens to me all the time. I get meaningful coincidences all the time, and it's a wonderful thing. And if you don't feel like you're getting meaningful synchronicities, don't give up. They'll come. It just, they'll come, because the more you focus on, I'm listening, I'm paying attention to the spiritual meaning of things, look up the symbols of things. So if you see something unusual, for example, the other night I drove out to the First Nation with my friend, and we saw a fox. So I said to my friend, he had his cell phone, and I said, look up the symbology of the fox. And we did, and we got a lesson. So always use the resources that you've got. Look things up. Symbology is very important at trying to get information about what the Spirit is trying to teach you. And there's also different ways that you can get messages from the Spirit through divination. So divination is things like tarot decks, people that read tarot decks. And you can go online and you can type into Google, you can go to different websites and ask for an online tarot that doesn't cost you anything, and you might get a piece, or it might just puzzle you and then try a different one. Other ways of getting messages from Spirit is to just go to your book collection and pick up a book at random and turn to a page at random and just put your finger where it goes and read what's right there. And that's called stichiomancy. And if you're using a Bible, it's called bibliomancy. And that's one way you can get a message from the Spirit. It's you'll be amazed at what comes up. And if it's confusing to you, well, if you've got your camera phone, take a picture of it. And maybe later on when you're talking to somebody, you're chatting or something, and you want to just send them something, maybe you go back and you look at the picture that you took of that random book and you send them that thing. Because if you go back to the idea of James Redfield, who wrote the Celestine Prophecy, his idea is that a lot of synchronicities come when you interact with other people and try and create something for them. So it doesn't mean that the message from Spirit, when you went through and you found that piece that was in some random book, was for you. It might be for somebody else. And you try and be helpful by working with other people and just passing little bits along to them. And it's a bit of a game and it's a bit of fun, and sometimes you'll get a question mark, why did you send this to me? And you might say, I don't know, I just had an intuition that this might be something for you. And if it's not, well, I tried, and move along. But don't give up and don't stop sending people stuff. If it resonates with you and it was a really important piece that you learned, then, if you feel like it, pass it along. Post it on your Facebook page. Maybe somebody will come along. And, people think, okay, well, they hear stories that, that Facebook is limiting me and I don't see certain things. I'm going to tell you that the Spirit is so strong that it is more powerful than anything that humans do. So if Facebook is, you hear something, paranoid thing that Facebook is listening to you and giving you certain ads and stuff, I'm going to tell you that the Spirit will work through Facebook to bring you the right and proper thing that you need to see. That's the way it is. It's more powerful than what you think is humans trying to control you. So there you have it. There's my talk on Spirit for now. And, you can ask me any question and I'll give you my whatever. Thank you very much. And you can look for me on Instagram at Burrows Bobby, Burrows Bobby, Bobby. And I have a YouTube channel. It's Infinite Bob 99 on YouTube. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.